What's up, fellow developers? Today, let us create a UI design for an iron shop. We'll start with the splash screen and then we'll move to the onboarding pages, then a login and sign up page. We'll also add a home page and a page to list all the clothes. And then we'll have a date and time of pickup. And then we'll add the order confirmation and the order tracking page. So let's get started. Over here I have an empty project. Let us first import the assets folder. I have got the assets and the images in the assets folder. Now let us add that in pubspec.yaml file. Let us also add the fonts. Over here we have two fonts. One is for the content and another one is for the title. Let us get rid of the codes that aren't used. Now we have an empty project. Let us get rid of the debug tag. Let us create a scaffold. Over here let us add a container of height media query dot of context dot size dot height and width same as the width of the document. Now let's add a decoration, box decoration. Let us add an image, decoration image, and then let us add the logo here, asset image. And we have a background image which has these circles and other images, so we'll add that first, and then as a child of this container let us add a center widget. We'll add another container of height 200 and width 200. Let us add a box decoration again. Over here let us add the logo image. Perfect. Now after about few seconds I want to open the first page, say that is the onboarding page, so I'll create a new function. Let us define the page route context. Now let us create a new file. Let us import material.dart. Let's create a stateless widget. And then let us import the onboarding file here. And now I want it to be navigated about 3 seconds, so let us create an init state function here. Over here let us add a timer. Let us add a duration of 3 seconds, and then I wanted to open the onboard page. Okay, timer works with an class named async. Let me add that. Great. Let us see if that works. Perfect. Now let us go to the onboarding page. Over here let us first create a scaffold, and then let us add a stack. Now we'll again add the background image, so let us keep the height same as the document. And then width also to be same as the document's width. And then let us add a column as the child of this container. I'm sorry, let us add a column as the child of the stack. So over here let us add a column widget. Let's keep the main axis alignment as center, and then let's add the children. Now for the onboarding I'll be using a widget named as page view. So I'll explain how to use that. Let us create a container of height 500. Its child would be page view, as I already mentioned. Now it needs a controller, so let us first create a controller for this. It's called as page controller. Let us define it as page controller. Okay. Now I want its initial page to be 0. Now let us add the children for this widget. Now this is the image name that I have already added in the asset folder, and this will be the title of this current page. So let us create the widget for this one. It will be a column widget. So, as I already mentioned, it will be the image. Now the second one will be the title of the page. Now let us return a column widget. Again, its main axis alignment would be center. Now let us add the children of this column widget. Let us first create a container of height 200 and width. Again, it should be same as the document. So I'll write media query dot of context dot size dot width. Let us give it a padding on all sides. Say I'll give it 50. Now let's add the image. We already have the image as a parameter, so I'll just write $img.png. Great. And then we need to have the container with padding of vertical axis. I'll give it as 10, and then let us add a text widget. Over here I want the title to be displayed. Let us give it a style. Size would be 30. Family, it would be Roboto. Font family would be Roboto, and the font now let us add another container. Let us give it a padding of vertical 10 and horizontal say 40, and then let us add a text widget as a child. For now I'll just give it a dummy content. And then let us create a style. Let us give it a size of 16. Color would be gray color, and then let us align it to the center. Great. Now let us add the other pages also. I'll just copy this function. These are the image names. And let us edit the title also. Let us see what happens. So we have all the images in place. Now let us add an indicator for this, but before this I would like to add on page change function, which would actually return an integer. I'll leave this as blank as of now. Will edit it later. And then let us add a row. Again, its axis would be center. Over here for the children, let us generate five containers. Now let us define this get indicator function. It will be an animated container. I want it to be animated, so you can also use a normal container here. Animated container needs a duration, so let us add a duration first. I'll give it a milliseconds of 100. Let us add the height of this container. It will be 100. With I want the say for I let us define a current page variable. If that is same as that of the page number, then I want it to be longer, else it should be same as that of the height. So I'll add it as 10. Let us add a margin. Let us add a radial border radius, and I want the selected page numbers indicator to be orange in color. So I'll write if again if current page is same as the page number, then I want the current color to be orange, or it should be gray in color. Perfect. Now let us add a variable here. That would be current page, which would actually be 0 at start. I'm sorry. Now if you notice that the current page is not edited when when we change the page in this, so that is where this part comes into action on page change. So let us edit that. I'll create a function saying set current page. Now that would be set current page. It will receive an integer as a parameter. Let us add the current page value here, and then let us set its state. Now if you notice that it will go to the relevant page indicator here. And now let us add an orange button just below the onboarding screen. So let us add a position widget in the stack that we already created. I'll give it a bottom of 0 and left and right also to be 0 because I want it to be central aligned. Let us add an inkwell widget here. On tab, again I want it to be a function. This function should change the current page, so probably let us define that later. Let us add a container first. Height 70, width also 70. Let us add a margin on the bottom side. Let us add a linear gradient. Now let us add these stops here. It's again 0, 1, and I wanted to begin from the top center part. Now let us add an icon for this. Let's add a child icon. Color should be white, and let's add the size is 40. Great. Now let us add the function for managing the click of this button. Let us create a function. If the current page is the last page, I want it to be navigated to the new page, that is the home page of the application. So let us write navigator.push context. Let us define the route. Or else I want the page to be, I want the next page to be displayed. So I'll write as page controller dot animate to page. Now we already have the current page in place, so I'll just increment it by 1 and let us add a duration. We'll give it as milliseconds 200. Now for curves I'll give it as curves.linear. Okay, now let us create a new document for the login page. Let us import material dot dot. Over here let us import the login page. Okay, now let us add the let us add the change page here. If you notice that we can still change the page on the click of this button, and when the last page is reached. When we click on it again, it will go to the next page, that is the login page here. And then let us create the login page now. Now let us create these pages. So if you notice that we have the logo on top, and some text, we have some text field, and then a button, and along with that we have Google and Facebook sign in. So let's do that now. Let us create a container. Let us add a padding on all directions. Let us first create a column widget. I want the cross alignment to be at start, and then let's define the children. This is the logo which will be on the left side, so I'll just create a container with 70 by 70, and then let us add the image. Perfect. Now let us add an expanded widget here, which will have the column widget as its child. I'll give the main axis alignment as center, and then let us add the cross axis alignment as start. Let us add the children. First it needs the text that should say welcome back. Now let us style that. Now just below that we have to add another text. Its color would be gray and size would be 20, and font weight would be 500. Now let us add a small spacing, so I'll give it a sized box. And we need some text field for the name, the mail ID and the password. So let us add a text field. I want the label text to say email, and then let's add another text field. This should say password, and then over here let us add a row first. This is for writing the forgot password text, so let us add it as end, so it will be on the right extreme. Let us add a text, should be gray in color. So once this row is done, let us add a sized box again of height 30. Now we'll add an inkwell widget. uh, this will be the button which is going to open the next page, so I'll just create an on tab function. Let us add that later. Let us create a container first. Since this linear gradient is used in most of the places, most of the buttons, let us create a new document which would say, let us import material dot dot. Over here, let us define a linear gradient. Let us first add it here and then we'll define it in that place. And then we need to define the stops also, and it should begin from the top center. Now let us create a text. We'll first add a center widget, and then let us add a text widget here which should say login. Color would be white. Size again 22. And let us add the font family here. Great. Now let us add the Google sign and the Facebook sign in buttons. First, let me give it a space of 20. And let us first add a row. We'll first create this widget which will have a line and the or, and then again another line. So let us add that first. So we'll add an expanded widget first. That let us add a container. Its height would be 1 and color would be gray. And this needs to be on the left and right side, so I'll add a container in between these widgets. Let us add a center widget. Perfect. Just below the row, let us again add a sized box. Let's create another row. Now over here we need a container. Let us add a border. Let us add the image here, that is the Google's logo. Great. I'll just copy this container and then let us change this to FB logo. Let us give a little bit of space in between them. Now let us again create a row. This would show if you don't have an account, click on sign up. So let us add that. So if you notice, we already have an expanded widget here, so this will be on the bottom, and then we need to add sign up button here, so it will be an equal again. Let us not define that for now. And then let us give a small spacing on the bottom, so let us add a sized box of height 10 probably. Great. Now this is going to be nearly the same design for the sign up page, so let us first create a function. Let us define the builder. Now we need to create a new page. Let us import this sign up page here, and then on the click of this sign up over here, let us add the function open sign up page. Perfect. Now let us again add a material app. Now the sign up page will also have a similar design as that of the login page. So I'll just copy the contents of the login page from here. And then let's edit that to say sign up. Now this should say open login page. Now let us define void material page root. I'll define the builder, which is a context. Perfect. Now let us edit these text field first. So over here we have sign up already, and then there is no text here, so we'll just get rid of that. And then this one should say name, and the next one would be phone number. Let us add a few more text fields here. After that would be the mail ID, and then let us add a password container here. Now there is no need of a forgot password. I'll get rid of that. And we also don't need the Google and Facebook sign in, so let us get rid of that as well. So instead of login, it should say sign up. And over here it should say login. So when we click on this login, it should go back to the login page. Okay. Now once we log in, let us write a new function. Before that, let us create a new document. And over here, let us again define the route. Now we need the home page to be opened when the login is pressed. So we already have an inkwell widget in place over here. Let us just define open home page. Let us see if that works. Great. Now in home page, let us again import the style scheme document. And get rid of the debug tag. Over here, let us add a scaffold. Great. Now over here you can see that we have a app bar which would have a back button and a notification button. We also have a title. So let's get that done. Let us add an app bar. I want the color to be transparent and elevation to be 0. Now let's add a leading. It would be an icon button. Great. Now let us add the title. It will be a text saying iron yard. Now let us add the actions here. It will again be an icon button. Perfect. Now let us add the body of this scaffold. Let us first create a container. I'll add a padding. Let us add a column widget. Let us add a container of height 200 and width same as that of the document. This we'll create this widget first. So for that, let us add and then over here let us add a stack. I'll create a positioned widget, top to be 0 and left also to be 0. Let us add a container first again. I'll give it a padding of 20. Now let us add a column widget into it. I want the cross-axis alignment to be on the start. Now let's add the children. Now over here uh, let us define some style for the title, the heading. So let us write font size 20. font weight 700. We'll be using this again, so I'll define it here. And then we can use the same style in this page. And let us add a sized box. And then we'll add a text. Great. Now we have to add the image. So let us add another positioned widget. This time it would be bottom 0 and right 0. Let us add a container of height 180 and width also to be 180. Let us add a box decoration, image, decoration image, image, asset image. Now this will have the banner image in place. Perfect. Now we need another container on the bottom of this, just below the banner image here. So let us add a sized box, height 10. The title of this would be services. Now again I can use the same header style. Let us add a container. Again I want the same color, so let me use this. Let us add a row here. Now let us import an image in this place. And then let's add an expanded widget. We'll give it a padding on all sides of 30. Let us add a column widget. I want it to be aligned on the right side, so I'll give it a cross axis alignment right, and then main axis should be center. Now let us add the children of this widget. And then let us add a sized box of height 10. Now we'll create an inkwell widget here. We'll define the onTap function later. I'll create a container again. we already have defined the gradient style in this key style scheme document, so I'll use that. Now let us give a small padding on the vertical and the horizontal axis. I want this color to be white and font weight can be 600. Now let us add these widgets. So inside the column widget, let us add a sized box again. And then let us add a container. Color is again going to be the same. And let us add a column widget here. This will add a row. Availability. Let us again define a content style here. And then let us add another text. Now just below this row, let us add a sized box of height 10. And then let's add another text. Great. Now let us create this widget. So for that again let us add a container. Let us add a column widget. And over here let us add a text. And give it a space, and then let us add another text saying you can check time estimation with price. And then let's add a row. Now we are trying to create this button, so this shape should be circle. Its color would be white, and I'll give it a size of 40. Great. Now we need to add the bottom navigation bar. So just after the body, let us add bottom navigation bar. I want the type to be fixed because I have around 4 items in this navigation bar. So I'll write bottom navigation bar type dot fix it. So selected item color would be orange. We'll define this later. Let us first define the items. Bottom navigation bar item. It will have an icon. And then the title would be a text saying home. Now it needs at least two items, so I'll just copy this. Great. Now over here we need to open the next page. I'll keep it on the click of this place order button. So let us define a function first. I'll define the builder. Let us create a new page. And then in the place order widget, let us add open order page. Now for the order page, we have the categories and then we have the clothes listed. So let's do that. We also have the app bar, so I'll just copy it from the previous page. And the title would say select clothes. Now let us add a body. It would be a container. Let us add a column widget. That would be a row. Now let us create a category widget. This would be the name of the image that I've already saved in the images folder, and this would be the title, and this is the status of that widget, if it is selected or not. So it will be a boolean with true or false. Now let us define this widget. Second one would be the name, and the last one would be the status. Let us return a column widget. Let us first add a container of height 70 with also to be 70. Let us add a decoration. Now the color needs to be gray if it is not, if it is inactive. So I'll write if is active. If it is active, I don't want any color, so I'll keep it as null. Else it should be gray color. I'll also add an opacity of 0.3. If it is selected, I want it to be a gradient, so I'll write gradient here. And again, if it is active, let us write the gradient style which is already defined in the style scheme document, or else it should be null. Okay, and I want the shape to be circle. Great. Now let us import the images. Let us write a center widget. Decoration, box decoration, image. Let us add a decoration image, and then again it should be asset image, asset slash images. We already received the image parameter, so I'll write it as $img.png. Okay, now let us contain that. Great. Now we also need to add a text just below this, so we'll write it as name, great, and then let us add the other widgets. Let us first create an expanded widget inside the column, and then let us create a single child scroll view. Let us add a column widget as a child of the single child scroll view. Now this is again the image. Now this would be the title of the cloth, and this would be the price per per piece. Now I have 9 images. Now let us define that cloth widget. It would it would return a container. The first parameter would be the image, second one would be the name, and the third one will be the price of that product. It should return a container. Let us add a padding. And then let us add a column widget. In this, let us first create a container. Now we'll add a row widget here. Let us first import the image. So for that, I'll create a container of height and width 50. We already received the image param, so I'll write it as $img.png. So we have all the images in place. Now let us create a column widget inside the row widget, in which we'll have the text and the price of the product. So let us write cross-axis alignment.start. We already have the name. Now let us add the price. And then let us add another text. Great. Now I need the final price of this. So let us write a text here. So it will display the uh, price of that product. Now we need to add a plus and minus button, so we'll add that here now. So for that I'll create a row. Let us create a container of height 40. And then let us add a child with center widget. I want the color to be white. Great. Now let us add another container of the same size. So I'll write height and width as 40, and then its child would be again a center widget. Now this would be the count of that product. I want it to be a little bit bigger, so I'll write it as 30. Or probably 25. Okay. Now let us copy this container, and then we'll change this symbol here. Perfect. So if you can notice, we have all the containers in place. If you notice that we have a line in this space, so we'll also add a row. Mm, So that is just below the container here. Let us add a row. I don't want it to be till the end of the screen, so I'll add probably a percentage of the document. So let us add media query dot of context dot size dot width into 0.75, and then we need to define the color. Right. So we have all the containers in space. Now let us define the widgets just below this. So after the expanded widget, let us create a row. Okay, and on the right side we need the total amount to be displayed. So I'll write another text. Now just below the row, let us add a sized box. Now we need a button to continue, so I'll give it an inkwell. Let us not define that for now. Let us create a container and give it a padding of 20 on all sides. And then let us add a child to this container. Color should be white again. Great. Now when I tap select date and time, it should go to the next page. So let us create a new document. We'll define the document here, import material dot, and then let us create a stateless widget. And over here on the onTap function, let us define navigator.push. We'll import the pickup time page here. Great. and then we again have the app bar. So I'll just copy it from this document. Now this should say select date and sorry, time. Now let us create the body of this scaffold. Now if you notice that over here we have a scrollable area which would scroll in the horizontal axis. So I have given as a single child scroll view, and then let us define the scroll direction as horizontal. And then we'll have a row as its child. Now let us define this date widget. It would return a container. The first parameter was the day, second one would be the date, and the third one is its state, if it's active or not. Let us add a decoration. Now again, if it is active, I want the color to be orange, or else it should be gray with an opacity of 0.3. Now let us add a child column widget. I want the main axis to be in the center. Now let us add the day here. And then let us define the style. Now if it is selected, I want the color to be white. So again, color is active white, or else it should be black. Okay, and let us define the size. Now just below this we need another text to display the current date, so I'll write it as date. Great. Now just below this we'll write the time slot also. So after the single child scroll view, let us add a sized box of height 15 probably. Now we need a line here, that would be the separator, and after this let us add another sized box. We need the title, same as this one, and this should say pickup time. Let us add another sized box for spacing. Again it's going to be a single child scroll view, and the scroll direction would be horizontal. Let us add a row here. Let us define the time widget here. It would be a container, again as same as that of the date widget. So let us add a time widget. The first one would be the time and the second one would be the active state. Now this is going to be the same as that of the date widget, so I'll just copy it. And then let us add a child. Again the main axis alignment would be center. Over here we have the time. Now if it is active, I want the color to be white, or else it should be black. Now if you notice, we have the pickup time widgets here. Now we'll add the delivery widget in place. That is going to be the same as that of the pickup date and time. So we'll just copy this part from this space to this one, and then we'll edit it as delivery date. So now that is going to be at least 2 days from the date of start, so I'll write it as 09. Now again we'll add the delivery time. So we need some extra space between the pickup time and the delivery date, so I'll give a double space, so I'll give it as 30. And then once this is done, we'll add an expanded widget, and then we'll leave it in place. So the next container would be aligned to the bottom. So let us add a row. Let us add a sized box here. And then again let us add a button. I can probably copy it from this place. Now this should say place order, and on click of this button I want it to navigate to the order confirmation page. So let us create a new document. Great. Now we again need the app bar. Now this should say order confirmed, and then let us create the body of this page. Let us create a column. We'll create a container of same as that of the document size. And height 200. We'll create this page actually. So I am creating the image. I'm importing the image first, and then let's add this text. Let us give it a spacing. Your order has been placed, and we will now we'll add the style. We already have the content style, and then we'll add the alignment. I want it to be center. Great. Now let us add a sized box. Now over here we need the order ID to be displayed. And then on the right side we have a box and then the order ID displayed in it. So we'll create that. Let us add the child, that is the text widget. I want the color to be white. Great. And then if you notice that we have a divider here and then a space between these widgets, so I'll create a divider widget. Now, sorry. Now this divider widget would be uh, a line with a margin at the top and bottom. So I'll give it as asymmetric, vertical 15 probably, and then height would be 1, color as gray. So once this container is over, we can add a divider widget. Now we need some more rows just below the divider widget. Now we don't need this container, and we don't need the color to be white, it needs to be black. So let us first add clothes count, that was 7, and then again we'll add a divider widget here. Now let's add the final amount. And then let us again add another divider. Now let us create a column widget. Now if you notice that the pickup date and time is actually inside a column, so we are writing a column instead of a row here. I want it to be a little bit smaller, so I'll define the size, and I want the color to be gray. Great. Now again let us add a divider widget just below the column. Now again we have a row saying the payment method, so I'll just copy this. Great. And now let us create an expanded widget, because I want the widget just below that to be at the bottom part. So I'll create an empty expanded widget. Now just below this we'll add the button, which would navigate to the next page. So we'll just look for the inkwell, and then let us paste it here, and this one should say track order. Now let us create another new document. track order page. Now let us add this here. Now again we'll have a scaffold. We also have the app bar, so I'll just copy it. Now let us create the body of the scaffold. Let us give a padding of all sides with 20. Let us create a column widget. I want the cross-axis alignment to be on the start. Over here let us display the order number. Let us give it a gray color. Now just below this text let us add a container. Now this is the divider part. Now just below this container let us add a stack. The stack, I'll add a container first. Over here if you notice we have a gray color line, so I've added this here. And then in the stack let us add a column widget. Now this would be the name of the image, and this would be the title, this would be the status. Now let us copy this. Let us define this widget. It would retain, it would return a container. The first parameter would be the image. Second one would be the status, and the third one would be the active or inactive state. Let us create a row. In that, let us add a container. We'll first create the circular object as displayed here. So let us write decoration, box decoration shape also to be circular. Now the color, if it is active, it needs to be orange, or else it would be gray, or yeah, white. So this would be the color. Now let us add a border. Again for the color. Now if it is active, I don't want the border, and if it is inactive, I want the border to be orange color. Let us add a width of 3. Now once this is done, let us add a sized box of width 50. Now let us add a container. Now let us add the image here. Now we have all the images in place, and let us add the contain. Right now we'll add a text here that will display the status. Now again, if it is active, it needs to be orange. Else it would be black in color. Now just below the status, let us add a container. That is same as the divider. Now let us add a row. Now we'll create these buttons, cancel order and my orders. Then below the box decoration, let us add the child. I want the color to be orange. Great. And now let us add another container for the right side. We don't need a border for this, but instead we need a color orange, and this should be white in color, and this should say my orders. Now we also have the bottom navigation bar. We'll add that. Great. This is the onboarding page. We have the login. You can also sign up if you want. We have the home page, and in place order we have all the products listed. We have the pickup date and the delivery date widgets. This is the order confirmation page. You can also track your orders here. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching.